Hello, Hammond here. Now, you know me, I get excited about things with pistons and power. I love the roar of a V8, the cleverness of a hybrid, the sheer lunacy of a massive supercharger. But today I want to talk about something a bit different. It's an engine, yes, but it's the quiet, sophisticated and frankly brilliant older cousin to the noisy internal combustion engines we all know and love. I'm talking about the Stirling engine. It's a magnificent piece of kit, an absolute triumph of engineering elegance, and it gets my inner geek fizzing with excitement. It's not about raw speed or tire-shredding torque. It's about pure, simple and beautiful physics in motion. You see, the Stirling engine is a bit of a forgotten hero in the world of mechanical power. It's been around for ages, longer than the car itself, yet most people have never even heard of it. It's the strong silent type in the engine family. While its internal combustion brethren are having a loud, messy party with explosions and exhaust fumes, the Stirling engine is in the corner, calmly and efficiently getting the job done without any fuss. It doesn't shout about its achievements. It just works. And the way it works is so clever, so fundamentally sound, that it makes you wonder why they aren't powering everything from our cars to our houses. The first time I saw one in action, I was completely mesmerized. It was a small desktop model powered by nothing more than the heat from a cup of tea. That's right, a cuppa. There were no bangs, no smoke, just a gentle, almost hypnotic whirring as the flywheel spun round and round. It was at that moment I realized this wasn't just an old relic from a museum. It was a glimpse into a different kind of engineering. One based on subtlety and efficiency rather than brute force. It's the kind of technology that makes you lean in closer, scratch your head and say, right, how on earth does that work? That's brilliant. So I'm going to take you on a little journey today. We're going to look at where this fantastic invention came from, how it works its magic using just a bit of heat, and why it might just be a massive part of our engineering future. It's a story of genius, safety and incredible potential that's been bubbling away under the surface for 2 centuries. Forget supercars for a minute. This is proper, old-school, mind-bendingly clever stuff. And trust me, by the end of this, you'll be just as excited about it as I am. Let's get stuck in, shall we? Right then, history lesson. To understand the genius of the Stirling engine, we need to pop back in time. Not just a few decades, but all the way back to the early 19th century. The year is 1816. Napoleon's just been packed off to St. Helena, and the Industrial Revolution is in full swing here in Britain. Factories are springing up everywhere, powered by massive, hissing and frankly terrifying steam engines. These early steam engines had a rather nasty habit of, well, exploding. They were high-pressure, dangerous beasts, and workplace safety wasn't exactly a top priority back then. A lot of people were getting seriously hurt, or worse. This is where our hero enters the story. A Scottish clergyman and inventor named Reverend Robert Stirling. Yes, a man of the cloth. Stirling was a clever chap. And he was deeply concerned about the safety of the workers in local quarries who had to deal with these temperamental steam engines. He thought there had to be a better, safer way to create power from heat. So he put his considerable brain to work, and in 1816 he patented his new invention, the Stirling hot air engine. It was designed from the ground up to be a safer alternative to steam. Stirling's genius wasn't just in creating an engine that ran on hot air. It was in a specific component he invented called the economizer, which we now call a regenerator. This was the secret sauce. It was a device that captured and stored heat that would otherwise be wasted, making the engine incredibly efficient for its time. This was a revolutionary idea. While steam engines were just chucking most of their heat energy away, Stirling's engine was recycling it, getting more work done with less fuel. It was the eco-warrior of the Industrial Revolution, even if they didn't have a word for it back then. Sadly, despite its brilliance and safety, the Stirling engine never quite managed to knock the steam engine off its perch. Early metallurgy just wasn't up to the task of handling the high temperatures the engine needed to be truly effective, and steam technology was improving rapidly. So, for a long time, the Stirling engine remained a fascinating curiosity, a brilliant idea that was just a little bit ahead of its time. It popped up now and then, but it never really hit the big time. It was a classic case of a great answer waiting for the right question and the right materials. So, how does this magical box of tricks actually work without any explosions? It's surprisingly simple, which is why I love it. At its heart, a Stirling engine operates on a very basic principle. When you heat a gas, it expands, and when you cool it, it contracts. That's it, that's the core concept. The engine cleverly uses this expansion and contraction of a fixed amount of gas, like air, helium, or hydrogen, sealed inside, to push pistons back and forth, which in turn spin a flywheel. It's an external combustion engine, which means the heat source is on the outside, not the inside. Let's break it down. Imagine you have a cylinder with two pistons and a bit of gas trapped between them. One end of the cylinder is kept permanently hot by an external source. This could be anything, from burning wood to solar energy or even that cup of tea. The other end is kept permanently cool, maybe by cooling fins that let air pass over them. The engine's clever internal mechanism, called a displacer, shunts the trapped gas back and forth between the hot end and the cold end of the cylinder. It's not a power piston, it just moves the gas around. When the displacer moves the gas to the hot end, the gas heats up and expands, pushing the main power piston out. This is the power stroke, where the engine does its work. Then, the displacer moves the gas over to the cold end. Here, the gas cools down and contracts, creating a partial vacuum that pulls the power piston back in. This cycle repeats over and over again. Heat, expand, cool, contract, as long as there's a temperature difference between the two ends. The regenerator we talked about sits in the middle, soaking up heat as the hot gas passes and giving it back to the cool gas on its return journey, making the whole process much more efficient, and that's the beauty of it. There are no valves, no complicated ignition timings, no explosive fuel-air mixtures. Just the smooth, quiet, and continuous conversion of heat energy into motion. Because the heat is applied externally, you can use literally any heat source you can think of. You could run one on solar power, geothermal heat from the ground, or the waste heat from another industrial process. This incredible flexibility is one of the Stirling engine's greatest superpowers, making it a fantastically versatile piece of engineering that feels more relevant today than ever before. Right, so we've had the history and the science lesson. What about now? What about the future? Well, this is where it gets really exciting. After sitting on the sidelines for the better part of 2 centuries, the Stirling engine is finally having its moment. Modern materials science has solved the old problems of high-temperature durability, and our desperate need for efficient, clean and flexible energy sources has created the perfect stage for its comeback. The quiet, clever engine is ready for the spotlight, and it has some seriously cool applications lined up for the 21st century. One of the biggest areas is in solar power. Companies have developed enormous mirrored dishes that track the sun, focusing its rays onto a single point. And what do they put at that focal point? A Stirling engine. The intense heat from the sun provides the hot end, the surrounding air provides the cold end, and the engine just sits there, quietly and reliably converting sunlight directly into electricity with incredible efficiency. It's a clean green power station with no emissions. You could have farms of these things out in the desert, silently generating power for thousands of homes. It doesn't stop there. Remember how it can run on any heat source. This makes it perfect for combined heat and power systems in our homes. Imagine a home boiler that not only heats your water and radiators, but also has a small Stirling engine running off that same heat, generating electricity for your house at the same time. You'd be using the fuel you're already burning to reduce your electricity bill. The Swedish Navy has even used them in their submarines for years because they're so quiet, making the subs incredibly difficult to detect. Now, that's what I call a clever application. The possibilities are almost endless. From powering remote research stations in the Antarctic using the waste heat from their generators, to providing reliable power in developing countries using burning biomass, the Stirling engine is a solution for a huge range of energy challenges. It's quiet, efficient, reliable, and incredibly flexible. It's taken a while to get here, but the humble hot air engine, invented by a Scottish reverend to save lives, is poised to become a major player in our quest for a sustainable future. It's a proper bit of good news. And on that bombshell, that's all we have time for today. I hope you've enjoyed this little dive into the world of the brilliant Stirling engine. If you did, give us a thumbs up and maybe even consider hitting that subscribe button for more adventures in engineering. Cheers!